ads or Instagram influencers? What's going on, everybody? Ryan Melnick back here with another video, and in today's video we're going to be discussing the difference and the positives and negatives between Instagram influencers and Facebook marketing. Now, before we jump into the video here, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already, so click that subscribe button, click the like button, let me know what you thought about this video, comment below, let me know what you think about Instagram influencers, Facebook advertising, which one you use and which one you prefer. Now, jumping into this right now, I did a little Venn diagram here. If you don't know what that is, basically these little circle things where we have some things about Facebook and some things about Instagram, then we have both. Okay, I focused on mainly the positives. Facebook ads versus Instagram influencers. Now, this is not Facebook advertising using Instagram placements. This is just Facebook ads in the news feed, for instance, versus Instagram influencers. I'm not going to mix the two of Instagram versus Instagram or anything like that. Just want to go with the basics here, okay? So let's start on the left side, Facebook. First things first, sustainability. So there's some great sustainability with Facebook ads, simply because when you push an ad out and you find that that ad and those ad sets you're running, those audiences and that campaign for that product is going to be a winner for you. You found some ad sets that are winners for you. You can obviously scale that up over time. And many times that product can last you, anywhere from 2 weeks up to 7, 8, 9, 10 months within this business, as we've seen many times before. And if you're consistently pushing out different pieces of content, sometimes it can last years, okay? It actually can. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. The sustainability in Instagram influencers is not quite there. It's just, when it comes down to it, you have to match up a product with an audience, with a specific group of people, and then you have to actually negotiate with that influencer and make sure, over time that influencer doesn't raise their prices so that it doesn't make you unprofitable and that it still makes sense. And all within the same time, you have to not completely saturate that audience with your ads and still make sure you're making consistent sales within that specific influencer, okay? Within that influencer's audience, right? So the second positive of Facebook is that we're sharpening actual skills. So when you're going out and finding Instagram influencers to work with, yes, there's some negotiating, there's dealing with people, there's some sales involved, there's probably a little bit of marketing involved, but for the most part, guys, you're really sending them a picture of a product, getting it to fit in the feed, and then just using the administrative part of Shopify Dropshipping that's not very hard, making sure the orders are fulfilled, make sure customer service is done, and all that stuff. It's not very hard. You're not really learning any quote-unquote skills from it, more so than just the administrative side. With Facebook ads, however, you are learning a skill. You're learning how to optimize ads. You're learning how to get better with copy, get better with sales, get better with certain parts of the funnel that improve your conversion rate. You're learning how to read data properly and analyze your KPIs, kill, keep, and scale. You're learning a lot of different things that are going to help you in the longer term. Now, the next thing for Facebook is scalability. Now, and I don't know if this is a word or not, might have just made it up, but there is no scalability with Instagram influencers. Yes, you can argue that there are ways you can go to different influencers and find massive amounts of influencers at one time, get to the Explore page and all this stuff, but inevitably with Instagram influencers, your products are going to die quicker than if you're running on Facebook. There's larger audiences on Facebook. Facebook's algorithm is understanding the most powerful thing in the history of the world, guys, when it comes to marketing, online marketing, is the Facebook algorithm, okay? It is artificial intelligence that is consistently learning and taking all of the data that you are giving it and considering all of it and finding the best possible customers for you so that you can make money. What do you do with Instagram influencers? You cut the Facebook algorithm out of it and you do it yourself. Well, then you're just essentially evaluating the amount you spend, the amount of sales you get. So it cuts out the most important thing. And over time, it's going to be very scalable within Facebook just to spend more money, scale up, use that custom data that you have to make audiences and scale up from there, okay? And then finally, it's semi-passive in Facebook. The great thing about Facebook is you don't have to be messaging people like with Instagram influencers. You can simply sit there, scale up. Yes, you do have to, and that's the reason I say semi-passive, you do have to deal with your ads. You do have to analyze your KPIs, your key performance indicators. You do have to look at data. You do have to, optimize. You have to kill, keep, and scale. You have to do that stuff. but it is semi-passive in that you don't have to sit there all day long and send people posts and make sure you're profitable and do all these different things and build creatives all the time. You may be able to do something and then not have to do too much work besides the looking at your data for a good few months. And on the right side here, we have Instagram. So just starting out here, it's easy for beginners. Guys, Facebook is not something that I recommend for beginners just getting started, not knowing a process. Like when people are gonna jump into Facebook advertising, I always recommend getting into a course, getting into a mentorship, getting into a program from somebody who knows what they're talking about and has some legitimacy and actually wants you to have success in this business. Guys, don't go out and buy a random program from some random person on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or whatever that you haven't talked to or doesn't actually want you to have success in this business. Okay, I've seen way too many people get scammed, way too many people buy programs that suck. Okay, so you gotta be careful about that. But with Instagram influencers, it's very easy for beginners. You can go out and have success with Instagram influencers and know nothing about the Instagram algorithm and how it works and all this stuff. You just could go out and find a product that you think a specific audience would like and give them a piece of content, that influencer a piece of content that would work within their feed, that would be attractive to people that like that person's page that would potentially buy it, and then link it to your website, and that's really it. It's much easier for beginners than Facebook, which is obviously a plus. Now, low entry, so I said low entry barriers here. What I wanted to say was low barriers to entry, but it didn't fit in the little yellow circle there. So low barriers to entry, there's very little barriers to entry, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It means that anybody can get into Instagram influencers and just build their own Shopify store. Building a Shopify store is not hard. If you think you're special because you built a Shopify store, you're wrong. You're not special, okay? Anybody can build a Shopify store. That's why I try to kind of bring it back down to earth and get people to understand when they tell me, hey, can you check out my store and see if it's any good? I built it the other day. Guys, everybody can build a Shopify store. It's not very hard to do. And so the power is in the marketing side of things, right? So it's not very hard to build a Shopify store and contact an Instagram influencer through DMs and say, hey, I'll give you $30 for a post or whatever. It's not that hard to do. There's low barriers to entry, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing because it can get saturated very quick if you start running a product that's working. You need to have some exclusivity or make sure your Instagram influencer is happy so they don't go starting to accept other people's money for the same product or whatever it may be. So there's low barriers to entry. Good. Also bad. Next thing, negotiation exists. This is a great thing because for the most part, it means whatever their price is, it can come down. And there's a certain way to go about it. You don't want to make the person upset and you don't want to devalue what it is they're selling because they are in love with this. This is their baby, right? This Instagram page they've likely worked on for years and years and years, and they don't want you to devalue it. And so there's a certain way to do it, but it includes negotiation, which means that if they charge $50 for a 24-hour post and you have to get 2 sales to be profitable, you may be able to do a test for $40, and if it works, get them to bring it down to $30 or $40 if you buy in bulk and you buy like 10 posts or whatever it may be. You may be able to do that sort of thing, which obviously helps your bottom line, helps your profit margin. So negotiation exists, which is obviously a great thing as it relates to the profit side of things. Do keep in mind, most people overvalue their pages, and so that makes it a little bit more difficult on the negotiating side of things because some of them are very desperate to get posts out, but some also don't care because they have enough money. They're making enough money if they're a big enough page where they don't really care to negotiate with you anyway. And finally, there's big profits that are possible. That's the big thing. There's big profits in Facebook as well. So I could have put this in both, but the thing is, what I kind of did, I put profit producers. But the reason I put this on the Instagram influencer side of things is because I want you to think of this, okay? And I have an example, and I'll probably do this in another video, but I used to sell one of my first products I ever sold in late 2016, really like mid 2016. One of the first products I ever sold in my first Shopify store on Instagram influencer page before I got started into Facebook ads was a best friend necklace, okay? It was a heart and a key, and there's 2 sides of the best friend necklace, and they came together to form this heart with a key in it, right? And so one of your friends gets one of the sides of the bracelet, the other friend gets the other side. And I sold them for like $16.95 with like $4.95 shipping or something like that, basically $20, okay? And I was paying a page that had 3 million followers, and this was way back when, so you wouldn't be able to get this rate nowadays. For a 24-hour post, I was paying them $30, right? And so all I really needed was 2 sales to basically break even because I would get $40 in, spend $30 on the ads, and they were costing about $3 or $4 per necklace, okay? So that'd be about break even. Well, on average, I was making, give or take, between 10 and 15 sales every time I posted an ad. Okay, this is way back when, so it was very profitable, but I was spending $30. I would spend $30 on an ad. I would get, let's say, just for the sake of an example here, $300 in revenue. So 300 minus 30, that's $270 in net, right? Or sorry, gross. What is it? 270 in, wait, 270 in gross profit, right? And you subtract the cost of goods sold, just for the sake of that example, I don't know, 12 necklaces times, let's say, an average cost of $5, that's 60 bucks. So 270 minus 60 bucks, my net profit, $210 in profit every time I did it. And I was doing it probably 2 or 3 times a week, so that it didn't get saturated, and I was doing it at different times. And it probably lasted, I don't know, probably like 2 months or so. And I did get as high as my best day was about $1,000 off one post that I paid $30 for. So $1,000, think about those margins. $1,000 minus 30 minus my cost of goods sold, which couldn't have been more than 200 bucks. I was making literally like 75, 80% margins. So the profit margins are huge. The sustainability is just not really there, but the big profits are absolutely possible. You could build a small-time store and do small-time business and do, $80, $90, $100,000 a year in profit, 50, 60, 70,000 a year off doing these Instagram influencer stuff. And there are ways to outsource it with virtual assistants and stuff like that. I just find that the long-term scalability is more so on the Facebook side of things. And I love learning a skill. I love that people can learn a skill. You can learn a skill alongside scaling your e-commerce business. That's why I love Facebook so much. Now, some of the positives of both of them. First thing is anyone can do it. Obviously, anybody can learn Facebook, anybody can learn Instagram. You don't need to have technical skills. There's definitely a process that you need to know, you need to understand. I'm not saying that anybody can just go out there and build a store and run ads on Instagram or Facebook and have success. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you do need a process, but anyone can do it. You don't need I've had students that are 50, 60 years old and have had success with this business. I've also had people that are 14 years old, kids going out and doing this and having success with this business. And you don't have to have technological skills, or you don't have to be super advanced in marketing or sales or anything like that. Anybody can do it. It's just about learning the process. Second thing is they're both profit producers, okay? So they both have a very astute ability to produce profit. There is huge profits in both sides of these. Facebook side of things, in volume and scaling. Instagram side of things, it's just about finding consistent influencers that match up with a product, where their audience matches up with a product that is profitable and works on their page for a certain amount of time. But they both produce good profit. And then finally, both sides of things are very little barriers to entry, low business barriers to entry. What I mean by that is, if you compare this to a franchise model where you go buy a franchise of like, I don't know, Chick-fil-A, or Chick-fil-A is a little different, but like Wendy's, or I don't know, one of these franchises, and restaurants obviously a bad example, but it's going to cost you, franchise fee is $100K. So you got to set up, you got to have, $300,000 setting it up. Then you got to have $2 million in assets, all that stuff. All of a sudden you've put together $500,000 to $750,000 that you probably don't even have to do this business, where you can do the same amount of revenue, probably not the same amount of profit, but the same amount of revenue and close to a similar profit with some e-commerce stores. Okay, so there's a low business barriers to entry. You can start this business, what I recommend, with $1,000 as the minimum budget, ideally being $2,000 plus in the optimal budget range. So as a business, this is a low barriers to entry business. Very low capital required and very minimal skills. Like, you just have to follow a program, know what you're doing as it relates to Facebook. I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying that you can absolutely do it if you follow the right steps and you follow the right program. Okay, so that's a little comparison, Facebook ads versus Instagram influencers. I personally like Facebook ads better, but it's because it's more sustainable, it's more scalable, you can make more money off it longer term. Instagram influencers is not bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but at the end of the day, like, it is a skill to have the ability to run Facebook ads, and it's something that is obviously much more scalable than Instagram, but I'm not saying Instagram doesn't work, and if you're doing Instagram, you're killing it, keep doing it. If you want to go try it out, absolutely try it. It does make money and it does work. So both good models, but that's pretty much it for this video, guys. That is the comparison between using Instagram influencers and using Facebook ads for our e-commerce stores. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you in the next video.